this is I was just telling you a little bit about this story, Framingham, Massachusetts. So what they did last year, the police department went to the taxpayers and they said, hey, we need laptops for all of the police cruisers. They didn't have computers in the car, Dieter. They had probably like old school.
Well, if you watch on Cops, the old school cars had like the old Apple computers with like a typewriter, and it's just an old thing.
Like
now
a weird little box with like a built-in screen or something.
Yeah, like the green and black screen, you know. But now they have the laptops. You can punch up people's. I mean, it's way advanced now.
Cruise the internet for porn if you want to. If you have a little extra time.
Sure.
Well, so the taxpayers said, okay, we'll get these laptops for the police cruisers. That sounds like a noble cause. You
need that.
Yeah, it would help apprehend criminals. It would speed up the process, and probably. So they said, all right, we'll get you these laptops. They put the laptops in the police cruisers. Now the local police union there wants extra money for the police officers to use those computers. They say that because it wasn't part of the original job description that they would have to use computers, that they now need additional pay. They want a 2% annual stipend, so $1,500 a year roughly. They want $1,500 a year extra in order to use computers.
For each cop or just all together?
No, for each cop. So if let's say you get paid $40,000 a year.
All right.
Then you would get paid almost $42,000 a year now, because now you have to use a computer in your car.
That you asked for?
That's right, yes. And
douches. If anything, they should get paid less.
Well, a lot of...
because it's making their job twice as easy? They're not using a pen and paper anymore?
Well, I think it's securing. It's making it more safe and secure for you, Charlie.
How would them having a computer make it safe and secure for me?
Well, if you get pulled over, it's going to be quicker for you to get a ticket and then get out of there. Clear you for warrants quicker. Why don't you like that? It's for you. It's for the person
they should be getting paid
arrested.
less for it. It makes their job twice as easy instead of having to call up,
So if we do something here with new sound effect equipment, should we take it out of your paycheck? You want to get paid less for that to make your job better?
No, but I'm not going to ask for more money. I'm not going to ask for more money just for doing my job. If you got me a new... Rover got me the new hotkeys program. I'm not asking for more money because I use it.
You should get paid less then, because it's newer equipment, right?
No, I mean...
No. Why not?
Well, I shouldn't get paid more. How about that? I should get paid more. How about that?
Well,
why should I get paid more just for doing my job?
Should be getting paid more.
For doing my job, I should get paid more.
But I don't think your job has an effect on the society and the streets and the safety of Dieter or me.
Forget all the effect on society and whatever you and Dieter are talking about.
What?
This is a scam. This is a blatant scam that the police department there is trying to get. They also the police department already gets extra amounts of money for defibrillator use, for fingerprinting, and for photography. They actually, in order for them to use a camera to take your mugshot, they have to go through, special training on how to use a camera. They get overtime pay for that.
Overtime just for using a camera?
Fingerprinting, yeah.
What would they do if they didn't do those things? Would they even have a job?
Yeah,
That's
most jobs, they go, this is part of your job description. Apparently out there, and I don't know, maybe it's the same way here. Apparently they say, oh, well, you need extra training and extra,
Well, the fingerprinting
defibrillator, so you have to get paid extra for that. The fingerprinting system, what?
It's hard to learn to use. They don't do that ink thing anymore. If they're using the whole digital thing, it rolls your finger, you have to type it up. It's a whole process, dude. Trust me.
And if you screw it up...
But wait a second. That should be included in your job training. They should teach you how to use it. You don't pay overtime to tell people how to do the job that you've already hired them to do.
If you're working now and there's new training, you have to learn that stuff in overtime.
You learn that on the job.
No,
you're on the streets.
How
can you learn that during the job?
Then you say your shift is 6 hours tonight. You don't get paid overtime
and screw the city over.
To come in and learn how to use the fingerprinting system or a camera to take mugshots, or in this case, the laptop. They want $1,500, $1,800 a year to learn how to extra pay to use the laptops that they requested. That is a huge scam.
Are they too stupid to learn how to use a laptop? Just pick it up and just start using it? I mean, is there a whole class involved?
There is a
What?
class, as a matter of fact.
Why isn't? Are you kidding?
They get paid, for instance, here's what they're looking for. The extra pay, the $1,500 or $1,800 per year. They want that plus 2 hours of computer training at overtime pay. So they want the 2 hours extra at overtime pay in addition to the annual increase for using the computer, which is just, it's a total scam. But I detect a little...
Evil?
No, it seems to me like Chocolate Charlie has a little... I just think this is a scam, but it sounds to me like Chocolate Charlie has an axe to grind with the police or something.
It's just they're always trying to rip people off, constantly.
The police are trying to rip people off?
You just read a story about how they're trying to rip people off. They pull people over for no reason. You just got, weren't you just complaining about you having to run a stop sign?
But he broke a law. That
was a law.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
that was cause for that.
If they want to nitpick on that, okay.
But
if you boil it down, he did break a law, right, Rover?
That's right. That's why, right. It's not like I got pulled over for nothing. I did roll through a stop sign, I guess. It was a rolling stop.
Is there better things that could have been out being fixed other than you rolling a stop sign?
He said he was by a school.
By a school?
So what?
During the weekend?
Life.
During the weekend? Rolling is... Rover, did you or did you not look both ways? Is it that big of a deal that you rolled that stop sign?
Yeah, there was no one around. Yeah, it was not a big deal at all.
Is there better things that could be... Is there drug dealers, murderers that could be being caught right then instead of worrying about Rover running a stop sign?
Well, what's worse, the cop turning a blind eye to Rover and letting that crime go? Well, he's just sitting there probably doing nothing.
Out murdering people?
Well, was there a murder on that same street? Show me in the paper. I mean, the cop's just sitting there. Why not bust Rover's ass?
Because there's some detective work that he could be doing. He could be doing some research, trying to find a drug dealer, trying to find a murderer, trying to find somebody that's doing something awful instead of Rover running a stop sign, not even running it, slowly going through a stop sign, looking both ways, just not stopping for the 2 seconds.
What is your problem?
He really
this guy's got hatred.
It's like Jazzy. Do you remember Jazzy Jim used to hate the cops?
Yeah, these guys are
one guy on the show that hates
similar.
Yeah.
These sound effect guys have so much in common every day.
Well, both of them have been arrested. How many times?
Well, yeah. Is that why you have a grudge against... See, I don't have a grudge against police officers.
No way.
In this case, that's a scam. And if they're doing that, it's a scam if they're doing it here. I don't know if they're doing it here, but if they are, it's a scam.
I don't think so.
It absolutely is. If you are, for instance, I do a radio show. Should I negotiate my salary and then say, oh, by the way, I have to run a computer and an audio console. I need extra money to do that.
They gave you wireless mics,
train me on that. Yeah, the wireless mics I need 2 hours of training on that at overtime pay.
What if you got a new board? Hold on.
They say no. That's part of your job.
New board, it takes 3 hours of training to learn it. When do you want to get that training? After your shift? You want to take 3 hours out of the show?
Guess what? I would have to get that training after my shift, and I wouldn't get paid 1 penny extra for that training.
But if they say we want to do it after the show, do you want to get paid for that then, or you go, no, I'll just give them 3 hours of my life?
But you guys, we don't have a job. We don't have a job where there's overtime.
True.
So you can't. True. This is even inconsequential.
Well, we're all on salary, but
right.
But
so I'm saying a police officer. That's the point, you jackass.
Yeah.
If they're on salary and they work over 40 hours, then they get overtime, and it's not supposed to take away.
Your training should be included. I mean, that's just part of being a police officer, is that there are certain things you have to be trained on.
Maybe instead of pulling you over for running a stop sign, they could be training at that point. Spending an hour and a half doing that, right?
What is it, Chocolate Charlie, that fuels his hatred? I mean, I really detect a hatred for police officers. What is it that fuels that?
It's just, I've met them so many times, and it's just like a frat, almost. It's like Dieter's frat. Like all their stupid friends getting together. I'm like, I don't have any friends, and I got beat up, and, I couldn't get laid in high school. Why not become a cop?
What?
Grow a stupid mustache, and I'll have some power for the first time in my life.
You don't think they want to do it to help people?
No.
They protect
You're the type of person that calls the cops on your stalkers when you get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
How dare you say that? You're the one always calling them.
That's when they're needed. Did
your car get broken into and you called the cops when the homeless guy tried to break your... What happened with that?
I'll tell you what happened. Nothing happened.
But did you call the cops on that? When you called the cops on that guy, why are you calling the cops if you hate him so much?
I hate him because I'm to test. I don't hate.
That's what
I'm to test them. I'm to see if they can do their job. Failed again.
That's what I always say to people who hate the cops. I go, all right, that's fine. You can hate the cops, but when some rapist or serial killer breaks into your house, don't call 911. Yeah,
No.
I think he's called
you
the
hate
cops.
the cops. Yeah,
He's called
so
the cops
don't use them.
more than
their job.
anybody else on the show, though, I would say.
But they're doing their job. That's their job. They're gonna, and they've failed most of the time. When
If
I
they
called them,
fail, you know they're going to fail. Don't call them then.
Do you know
Deal
why
with
they
it on your
fail?
own.
Here's why. If I was a cop and I came out, I could tell within 2 seconds he has a bad attitude, I'd fail on purpose.
Okay,
Whatever
look,
the guy wanted from me.
I didn't get it at first when I met Charlie, why people always want to punch him in the face.
Oh, no.
I get it now.
Oh, easy.
Right when you first meet him, he comes off as aggressive. If I was a cop, I wouldn't help him either. He comes off, he runs his mouth, he's always instigating
Thinks
something.
he's better than you, like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a stupid cop.
That's why they don't help you, dude.
no, they're not able to do things that, normal jobs that, an educated person could do. They're just going to be a cop, walk around with a gun and a badge and be a badass for the day and grow a stupid mustache. That's their whole day. And it's just dumb.
They're spoiling crimes. They know how to shoot a gun. What are you saying? They're not educated. Come on.
I mean, pointing and shooting a gun, not that hard. It'd take, an hour of practice.
Most guys don't ever shoot their gun in the line of duty. Like,
it's not
come
that
on.
It's not being a rocket scientist for sure.
Some kid got shot yesterday. He was trying to shoot a newsie at a state fair, and he blew his head off. It's not that easy to shoot a gun.
Well, the kid's 8. The kid was 8 who shot himself in the
He's
face.
9.
Steven in Memphis, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, Steven.
Yo, Rover, what's up?
Hey, man, what's happening, bud?
All right. I try to like Charlie, but he's driving me crazy. I mean, I'm a police officer, and he says that all we do out here, we grow a mustache, we carry a gun and badge, and that's it. And he talks about how we should be doing something other than pulling people over or something like that. We should be doing investigative work. But he has no idea how many times a rapist, a murderer, a drug dealer, or whatever is taken down after a routine traffic stop. After that person rolled through a stop sign or was speeding, the officer pulls them over, gets 10 keys off the street or something like that because of a routine traffic stop.
How often? Go ahead, give me the percent on that. What's the percent?
A percent? What, you want me to come up with numbers?
Yeah, you said I have no idea the amount.
Every day,
Just give me the
Charlie.
amount.
Isn't it possible?
Give me an average amount, 2%.
Well, he says it happens. That's probably how they catch most of those guys, I'm guessing.
I mean, you've got guys that's their job. Uniform patrol, that's their job. That's in their title, uniform patrol.
I understand.
Patrol.
And how often when you pull over?
You also have detectives. You also have, your crime scene techs. You also have your murder division. I mean, come on.
Now, Stephen, you do have to admit, though, I don't agree with what Chocolate Charlie is saying here, but you have to admit that when the police department says, hey, we want new laptops for our police cruisers, and you give it to them, and then they go, oh, by the way, you have to pay us $2,000 a year extra because now we have to use the computers that you gave us, that's a scam. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen where I work, I tell you that much.
He's like, I wish. Steven's like, damn, I need to move up to Framingham. Get that extra $2,000 a year to use a computer. How do I cash in on that? Yeah, I mean, look, I think that in that particular case, Charlie may have a point. That's a scam, but everything else that this guy's talking about, it just shows a deep distrust and hatred towards police officers, which I don't share.
The first time I had an encounter with the police, I was in a parking lot at it's like a shopping mall area, and I was with my brother, and he was skateboarding around, and I was just kind of hanging out. And this cop came up, and he said, what are you doing skateboarding here? And my brother gets off the skateboard and says, sorry, officer. And I'm like, I can't exactly hear what he's saying, but I know he didn't say what was said, because my brother is a nice guy. I'm across the parking lot, I see this cop stops, and he starts yelling and screaming at him, and I walk over to see what's up, and the officer starts screaming at me because I'm videotaping it.
Right there.
What is with him and videotaping everything? Every encounter he has with a police officer is videotaped. When he got beat up in Canada, he was videotaping something.
I guess
he got pulled over a speeding ticket.
Videotape.
Yeah, and he videotapes it.
Evidence. I guess it was just evidence for whatever reason, and it actually came in handy later.
It puts people on the defensive, though.
That's fine. Came in handy for me later, because what this guy said. He then tried to grab my video camera and said I couldn't record there, and I was like, no, you can't have my video camera. This turned into a tussle, and I ended up on the ground with a knee in my back within 30 seconds of talking with this man. He then calls 4 or 5 other police officers, and I'm 15 or 14 at the time. I really, I'm not up to anything bad. And then I end up in court.
How does he know? He doesn't know. A 14, 15-year-old?
You should just grab me and throw me to the ground?
But why'd you walk over there? You weren't involved.
Because it's my brother.
But you have no idea what he was saying to the cop. You're like, oh, he's a nice guy.
I just walked over.
But still, you're getting involved in it. The cop always
You
says,
walked out and you were videotaping,
Yeah.
which puts people on the. Now you can videotape.
No,
they can't
sure.
stop you from videotaping.
But stay far away and do it.
Yeah.
When I finished, I was way far away. He saw me far away, told me to come over. So I came over. Later on in the court, he says that I just walked up and...
Court?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This turned into a huge
Were you
ordeal.
arrested right there?
No, but it was some sort of magistrate I had to go to. It was a huge ordeal in my life. And the cop claimed, his police report said, I walked up to him on my own behalf and just said, "What's up, you MFer? F the police. I effing hate police. You know, S my D and you pig and everything." I'm just like, no, what? Who would just walk up to another human being and say that?
You would.
Well, so let me finish. So then the lady says, "Do you have proof you didn't do this? Because if you do, we can go to court right now. Or if you just admit that you did it, we'll go to real court if you disagree with the statement. If you agree with the statement, we'll just let it all go and you say you're sorry." So I said, "Oh, sorry." But I still have the proof. I had the evidence right there that I could have taken out. I could have went to court.
Why didn't you do that then, big balls?
Because I'm not going to court over this. And I'm not
Something's not adding up. Where's the tape? Bring the tape in.
Okay, I'll bring it in.
All right,
I'll
bring
have
the
to
tape
find
in.
it.
And here, look at this. A 14-year-old kid killed his mother who was pregnant. So you mean to tell me that, because I'm 14, what could I possibly do?
Yeah.
12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds are
with
raping
a video camera?
and
That's
killing.
that's an everyday story, too. That's what every 14-year-old
We have
does.
so- oh, my God.
That's an everyday Every 14-year-old in the world kills
How is a
and rapes
cop
their mother.
supposed to
That's what people
know?
do.
How is a cop supposed to know that your scrawny ass doesn't have a gun or a knife or whatever?
Then why doesn't he go around doing that to everybody?
Oh, my
Why
God.
me?
Because you mouthed off
Charlie.
to him.
Didn't mouth off to him.
You were in the first place. You were skateboarding in a place you weren't allowed to, right?
I understand. That is
Okay,
illegal.
so there you
So
go.
there- so
Breaking a law
again.
from the start. It goes back to
Hi.
there's always a cause. We're not just picking on you for nothing. You were breaking a law in the park.
As this was going on, bicycle riders that were not allowed to be there were just driving by, just going.
But he's
right.
dealing with you first.
He's not an octopus.
He's not going around bothering these people. There were 5 cops. 5 cop cars ended up on the scene of this event because of this skateboarding that happened.
Terry in Memphis. You're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, Terry.
Hey, first of all, let me do this. Charlie, who are you to question what a cop does or what he doesn't do? I'm a fireman here in Memphis, and I work with them hand in hand.
I love firemen.
If you are questioning what a cop does, who are you? You know,
He's an
I
intern.
bring you back to reality. If it wasn't for the Rover show, you'd be in your mom's basement looking at little naked boys.
I'm still doing that, so it doesn't matter.
You are nothing. I've done more in a day than you've done in your whole life.
Of course.
Nothing. Okay? And for you to question a cop and his decision making, it blows my mind. You are worthless. You work a board op at a radio station, probably get paid $11 an hour.
Less.
When a cop gets out on the road every day and risks his life and possibly gets shot by some scrawny 14-year-old that looks like... Now, why would he even take a chance on not taking you down so he might not go home?
Yeah, that's what cops should do. They should go around taking everybody down, Terry. That's what they should do. They're going around taking out 14-year-olds.
They shouldn't take them down, but with an attitude like yours, I wouldn't take a chance, and I'm a fireman. If I saw you on fire, I wouldn't to put you out. You are worthless. And as far as the police officers trying to get money from as much money as possible, saying pulling a scam, only thing I can say about that is, as a fireman and the policemen out here, we don't get paid enough. We have to do whatever we have to do to try to get as much money from the city or the government as we can to try to get paid. And if that means we have to scam them to do it, then by God, that's what we'll do. Because we have all these city officials out here making all these big paychecks, and we can't even get a 3% raise every year, and we're out here risking our lives. So if we have to pull a scam to get more money every year to put food on our table and to live comfortably. When you got a police officer that makes less than $50,000 a year, and every day he's out risking his life for some idiot like Charlie,
You're right,
who has nothing to do all day and makes less than $50,000 a year, that's wrong. So
I think that a lot of these guys should just get paid more money.
Absolutely.
I don't think that the way to do it is by saying, "Oh, hey, give us new computers," and then come back a year later and go, "Oh, hey, we need an extra $2,000 a year to use these computers."
You're looking at it wrong, Rover. I think the way you need to look at it is it's unfortunate that that's what they have to do.
I think that some people, I can tell you what went on here, and it's happened in city after city. some people, what happens is a lot of these guys get paid. There's been a lot of overtime scandals, and you'll have a guy that makes $50,000-$60,000 a year, and then you see, wait a second, they made $130,000 last year. Oh yeah, that was all in overtime. You go, wait a second, something isn't adding up here. So, I believe that they should get paid more money. I'm not disputing that.
I think they should be graded on how well they're doing. How many real criminals they're busting. If you gave out 100,
then they would just bust people for everything. You'd have more rolling stop sign.
Real criminals. I said real criminals. If you gave out 100 rolling stop sign tickets that day, no, you know
that makes a lot of money for your city, though. That's why they do it.
Well, I mean, you're not out doing the real stuff that needs to be done. You're not catching drug dealers, not catching murderers, rapists.
Those people get promoted.
How come you're not out on putting your life?
I'm not a cop. That's not what I signed up to do.
But if it's so easy.
That's not what I signed up to do.
But what are you doing for the good of the world? What are you doing so good at High and Mighty?
I'm not a good person. I'm a horrible person.
As long as you know that.
I have no problem with that.
Well, you're calling those cops, they're not smart. Well, tell the wife or the family of any cop that they're not smart. Every day they're putting their lives on the line. You're saying, oh, they're not smart, they're idiots, anybody can do it.
What do you think? They're all just meatheads like Dieter?
Yes. Look at Dieter. He'd make the perfect cop. Doesn't he constantly say he wants to be a cop?
Yeah, just so I could bust your ass.
Exactly. Go ahead.
If I ever get that badge, I'm going to harass you every single day of your life. For rolling stop signs, throwing out a cigarette, I would make your life a living hell.
That's what you do. You are just like a cop. You would make the perfect one. Going around punching people, beating people up for no reason.
You hit a chord.
Screaming, yelling at them. That's what your day-to-day is.
I should have rolled just to bust your ass.
Do it. Rover's Morning Glory.
I like this story about the kid over in London. I saw this a couple of days ago, this story about the kid who wrote his exam paper and he only put 2 words on the exam paper, F off.
Yeah.
And they gave him credit for it.
Well, he spelled the word out.
Yeah, well, he spelled F blank blank K off. Right, and there were 27 points possible. He got 2 points out of 27.
Which I don't know how they could have done that. I mean, how do you give him 2 points?
Well, it's funny because his teacher's great. He goes, it would be wicked to give it 0 because it does show some very basic skills we were looking for, like conveying some meaning and some spelling. It's better than someone who doesn't write anything at all, the teacher said.
I disagree. Give a kid a 0.
The expletive was used on the exam in response to the question, describe the room you are sitting in, and the kid wrote F off.
I mean, what if he could say effing thing sucks, or, if you want to...
Fucking thing sucks!
I mean, write that at least. Don't tell the teacher to F off.
The teacher then even goes on to say that the student would have received a higher mark if the phrase had been punctuated. So,
like an exclamation.
Like exclamation point, maybe he would have gotten 4 out of 27 points. So, I like that story. I thought that was kind of funny.
If that's the thing, is if you're going to be a teacher... It's like, which road do you want to go down? Do you want to be a cool teacher? Like that teacher you say is pretty cool for giving the kids at least 2 points? Or do you want to be the stickler like me that says, you want to tell me to F off, F you, 0, fail?
I hated authority, so when I was in school, I still hate authority. I had a real problem with authority figures in school and teachers and principals and stuff.
You do?
I still do, and... I heard a rumor, I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor that Chocolate Charlie was kicked out of high school 2 weeks before graduation, that he got expelled. That's what I heard.
I heard that rumor, too.
Is it true, Chocolate Charlie?
I'm not actually sure if it was my senior year or my junior year, but yeah, 2 weeks before.
How do you not know?
Yeah, wouldn't you remember that? I mean, if you got expelled, would they allow you to graduate? Did you graduate?
Yeah, I had enough credits that I still graduated. I just wasn't able to walk across the thing.
Really? This guy was a troublemaker in school.
Yeah,
dorky and troublemaker.
I was pretty bad. I remember we were, I was in my video production class, and we didn't have anything to do, but we had all these cameras, because it was like 2 weeks before school's over.
That's bad news.
They shouldn't have let us use it. I'm blaming it on them, really. So I'm just walking around, like, taping random things, and,
and can I tell you something? Again, with the story. Video camera. Everything that involves this guy gets in trouble. Video cameras are involved. He gets his ass kicked in Canada. A video camera is involved. He just told the story the other day. I forget what it was, but a video camera was involved during that.
Well, like how you wanted to be in radio when you were younger. You're just always doing radio stuff. Yes. I always just had video camera with me my whole life, and so it was around a lot. And I remember what happened was a friend of mine we pretended we were going to do a story on the smokers in the bathroom, and we're going to catch them. We set up the camera, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go to the bathroom right in front of them to try to push them out of the way. Well, then one of the smokers went and told on me.
Wait a second. Wait. What do you mean you're just going to go to the bathroom right in front of them to push them out of the way? So there's a bunch of kids smoking
right in front of the toilet.
Okay, right in front of the toilet.
Walked in and just started going to the bathroom, which nobody ever did.
Number one or number two?
Number one.
Okay.
Nobody ever did because they were just like, they ruled the bathroom, and you kind of had to deal with them. So I decided I'm going to make a stand here. And I was going to do
Let me guess, you got your ass beat shortly thereafter.
No, the kid was a little bitch, so he went and told on me. And I remember I was walking through the hallway. I totally forgot that this even happened because it was like an hour later. My principal just goes, "To me!" And I like went in his principal's office. And then he called my parents down. They tried to show the video to the police because I was 17 at the time. The guy taping me was 18. Almost got busted for child porn.
Oh my God! Really?
And
well, I mean, what were you fondling yourself on?
No, I just went to the bathroom.
I mean, wasn't your back to the video
that's why I didn't understand about it. I never actually saw the tape because when he went to go show my mom, he put it in the VCR, but the guy was a little stupid, so he couldn't figure out how to press play on it. He's like, I got to go get the video production person to show you what your son has done. So as soon as he left the room, I ejected it, like broke the tape.
Oh my God!
Put it back in there, and then when everybody's down there trying to get it to play, and he pulls it out, and all the tape comes with. He's like, "Oh, it's broken," and then all charges were dropped, but it still got expelled.
For what? For going to the bathroom? Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
With the video camera in the bathroom. At the time, it didn't seem like anything was wrong, but then once he explained it to me, like, you're 17, he's 18, he's recording you. That's really illegal. And I was like, you know what? I guess you're kind of right. I do understand that was pretty awful, and I was expelled.
Were they just because you had a bad camera in the bathroom and it's a privacy issue?
It's that whole thing. I just didn't even think about it at all.
I mean, look at this kid. He gets in trouble. It's so weird. So what? They kicked you out of school. They expelled you.
Yeah, did you finish the school year, the last 2 weeks?
No, we were off.
So it must have been your senior year then, if you weren't able to walk, right? Or was there another incident that caused?
No, I mean there's lots of different incidents, but
but if you're expelled, you're not going back to school.
You can't go back to school,
Must have been senior year.
No, because if you're expelled, it's only 90 days. You're actually expelled.
Oh, I see.
So then you get to go back. So I think it might have happened right before summer, and then next year, senior year, I got to go back. So I'm pretty sure it was junior year, but I also didn't get to walk. I think that was just because of my grades, and I had to go to summer school.
Senior year, you didn't get to walk the stage?
No.
Were you disappointed?
No, I didn't really care at all. Don't feel like I'm missing out on anything.
You did miss out. It was pretty cool.
I don't think so. What was so sweet about it?
It's just a memory that you'll always have.
Why are you so anti-establishment and doing things like that? Why are you against? You're kind of like a weirdo like that. That stuff that everybody thinks is cool, like all the pomp and circumstance that goes with it or whatever. You think is gay.
I'm not saying you're lame, Doogie, for walking. I'm saying I could care less about walking. I've never once sat around and said, man, I wish I could have walked across that stupid stage. Sat and listened to my retarded teachers tell me about how great life is after this. I don't care. I saw it on TV. I get it. I'm done with it.
I think when you grow up, you're going to have some regrets.
It's been 5 years now, and I've not once cared.
You're a young little lad. I think when you get older and when you know what I mean?
I have the diploma. I have the diploma.
No.
I just don't care at all about walking across the stage. There's a whole bunch of rules. I remember we had to do a whole class about how you have to walk across the stage. You're not allowed to take your hat off. If you throw it, you will be arrested. You won't graduate. You'll have to come back next year. It's the whole thing. If I would have went, I would have gotten arrested.
How did they make you come back next year if you throw... Yeah, he probably would have, the trouble. How did they make you come back next year if you throw your hat up into the air?
They would have taken away your diploma. That's what they said. I was amazed by it. I was like, I thought that's what you're supposed to do, is take your hat off and throw it in the air. That's all I've ever seen. It's the only reason why I'd want to be there is to throw things, And I'm not allowed to throw the hat.
Some schools just don't let it.
So I don't feel like I missed out on walking.
I heard that your plan was to go up on stage and puke on the principal as you received your diploma. Is there any truth to that rumor that is what you...
It's a little off, but my principal, he really just despised me because I could get out of the ways that he would try to, give me different detentions. I would figure out ways where I could get out of it. And one time... I knew that I was supposed to be at school that Saturday because we had Saturday schools. You have to go to school Saturday and sit there for 4 hours.
Why?
Oh, if you're bad, they make you go to Saturday
really?
school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to do that like every other week.
Ew.
Yeah. I stopped going in for a while. I just had enough because I had a job at McDonald's, which was a little more important to me than just sitting at school at the time, just for money, because I'm not getting anything accomplished at Saturday school. So I knew that Monday he was going to call me down to the office. So I purposely got the syrup of Ipecac, which makes you throw up.
Yes.
My big plan was I was going to chug that right before I went down there and just barf all over his face, his computer, all of his stuff.
You can't do that. They
I
would
wanted
arrest
to
you.
No, that's the best part. I'd be like, oh, I must have ate bad eggs or something earlier before. Sorry, I threw up on your stuff. You can't get mad at somebody throwing up. There's nothing you can say. When somebody's throwing up, you can't yell at him. You're like, man, he's not planning this. That was my plan, though.
I think your big mouth would have had it out there that you planned and you did
He would have told all his homo friends that are in BBG.
Right.
Dude, I drank this Ipecac and I puked all over Mr. Smith.
Right.
Whatever, who cares? That's just hearsay. I'd say it never happened. I ate a bad breakfast, and sorry I threw up on your face and I ruined your computer and stuff and all of your files.
So what happened? So you got the bottle of Ipecac.
Tried it. I tried it at the home the night before to make sure I'd know, like, okay, so you have 20 minutes, get my time reference down. The syrup of Ipecac didn't do anything to me. I didn't throw up at all.
Didn't make you puke?
No.
Didn't you take some of that on the show, or was that someone else?
It was Dieter and Phoenix, our old intern.
I never did that, no.
How long did it take for them to hurl?
One was about 18 minutes. The other one was like 26, 27, 28 minutes. Dieter was longer. Phoenix was first to hurl. I think that video might be up at Rover Radio as well.
Maybe you didn't drink enough of this stuff.
I think that's what it was, but I kind of pushed out the night before. I was ready to do it the next day, but then I had used all of my syrup of Ipecac supply, and I didn't have enough money to go buy some new stuff.
My syrup of Ipecac. Is that what it's called? Syrup of Ipecac, not Ipecac syrup?
I have no idea.
No, it's syrup of Ipecac.
He's right. I think he is.
Syrup of Ipecac. It just sounds weird, this guy.
And another time, he tried to give me a Saturday, and I had this huge plan, and this actually worked. I said, I'm not coming in Saturday ever because I have to go to work. He's like, well, you have to come because school's more important than work. And I was like, well, regular school is, but not Saturday. So why don't you come down to my Friday school? You come to my house Friday, and you sit at my house. Like, I can't go to that. I have to work. And I was like, no, the day you come to my Friday school, I'll go to your Saturday school.
You're a dick.
So I came in with this form.
And you wonder why this guy gets
I printed out a huge form. It looked just like his form that he would hand me, but instead it had my address on it and stuff. And and he wouldn't sign it. And I said, then I'm never coming to your Saturday, and I'm not signing your Saturday. And I just skipped a class beforehand, so I have this coffee in my hands. And he's like, where'd you get that? I was like, don't worry about it. I don't remember. I just remember having this coffee, and he's so upset that I have this coffee, and he can't figure out where I got it from because I didn't have coffee at the school. And that Monday, he calls me down, and I had, as soon as he gets on, he's like, why weren't you at my Saturday school? I said, we didn't come to my house Friday, so I'm never coming, like I told you. He's like, what's your phone number? And he always says the same speech on the phone. He would call, leave a message, or talk to my mom, and he'd say, Mrs. Toomey, your son didn't come to the Saturday school. He's going to get a second Saturday school. So instead of giving him my mom's number, I gave him my cell phone number. And the night before, I had recorded a voicemail that said, hello? And then, so he calls it, and it says, hello, and he starts going, hello, this is Mr. Whoever, and your son didn't come to my Saturday school. And I since I knew his speech, it cut off perfectly, and it said, wait, did you go to his Friday school? And he's like, no, I'm not going to no Friday school. And then it says, you're not going to Friday school? Then why don't you eat a bag of, and then blank. And then he looked at me, and he realized, because right after the phone beeped, and it said, would you like to leave a message? And I set my cell phone right in front of him, and he realized that I just told him to eat a bag of S. Without me actually saying it, and it was the most epic burn in the world. I loved it. I could not. It was really my crowning moment of my life.
And what did he do? Take a baseball bat?
He looked at me. He's like, because he just realized that he can't do anything.
He just realized he was the victim of the most epic burn in the world,
of all time.
The most. You have to remind me that, Dom. When I rip on someone, it's going to be the most epic burn.
No, not like that.
Can I ever top the most epic burn of all time?
You'd have to pull some strings to make an epic burn like that. Telling your principal to eat a bag of S and then making him so he can't say anything right afterwards. pretty epic. So
how come you're a little like Rover, and Rover's not that retarded, but you're a little, you don't like authority, and you have no respect for people that are in position of power.
Why didn't your mother do anything?
Yeah,
like
your family.
Punish you? My parents, my dad would have whooped my ass, and my mom would have whooped my ass.
You lie to your parents. You don't tell them. You're like, I don't know who he called on that voicemail.
You're a dick.
I don't know who that was on the other line that told him to eat that bag of Vessels. Surely wasn't me.
That dumb that she bought that?
No, she's not dumb at all, but I don't know.
Did she punish you?
No, I was like 17. What's she gonna do?
Beat your ass?
You're a bad kid.
It's not that I hate authority. I just hate people that think they have authority, like a vice principal. I don't care what he thinks. I can care less. He could tell me a million things. I'm not going to go to his stupid school Saturday. And he could suspend me. Awesome. I don't have to go to school that day.
You're an idiot.
It's like if a place suspends you from your job. Like, I always love it when people get suspended with pay. I go, oh, how can I get suspended with pay? Can I get Bojangles to suspend me with pay? I'd love that. Hell, you can suspend me without pay as long as I'm not using my vacation time. I'll be fine with that, too.
Go throw up on his desk. Maybe he'll suspend you.
I don't know. Can you get me some syrup of Ipecac?
I can work on it for you.
Well, I'm surprised his mom has not
instant messaged
me yet, yeah.
Unless you put the kibosh on that. You told her not to ever instant message.
I tried a million times. She just keeps doing it.
Okay,
there's no stopping her.
You know, your mom, I'll tell you something. She's in that video. Isn't she in the douchebag video? That's really your mom?
Yeah.
No offense, but your mom is a lot older than I thought she would be. I mean, unless you guys made her look old in that video.
No, she had me pretty old.
Did she?
I don't remember exactly how old she is, but she's born in 49.
I mean, she looks like she's 70 years old, bro.
No.
Whatever. So 49? So
I think she's 59 right now.
She's going to be
69. She's going to be 60 pretty soon.
Wow.
So she was in her 40s
Isn't that
when
wild?
she had you?
I'm 32, and my mom is 50. My mom is 10 years younger than his.
Wait, so your mom was 40, 41 when she had you? God, 40.
Probably around 42. That.
How old are you, 24?
23.
So do the math on that, Rover.
I don't care.
You have an older brother or anything? Or?
No, younger brother.
Oh, my God.
It took so long for her to squirt out a kid.
She had a miscarriage. Maybe that had something to do with it, but I have no idea, really.
Really?
Wow.
I never really noticed until I'd see other people's parents that, like, wow, my mom's kind of old.
And they were always like, hey, is your grandma cool? You're like, no, that's my mom.
Oh.
I remember, man, when I was a little kid, now I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I really don't. It does not affect me anymore. I don't care what you think of me, but when I was little, I was really hung up on what people thought of me. And I used to go out with my grandparents, my grandma or whatever, and I was so embarrassed that someone may think that that's my mom instead of my grandma. Yeah, because, you know, my mom had me young, so my mom was real young. Therefore, my grandmother was older, but not like, didn't look like a grandma. It just looked like a really old mom. Probably like what Charlie's looked like when she had him, you know, and he's like 10 years old or whatever, walking around with her, and she's 50-something or whatever. And so, I would purposely say really loud, like, hey, Grandma, can I go over here? You know, like I'd say grandma over and over so that anyone within earshot, everyone we passed, I'd have to make sure they heard me call her grandma. She's a weird kid, man.
I don't think you're as weird as Charlie, though.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. AJ, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Good morning, AJ.
Hey, what's going on?
Yo, what's up? Arbe.
Hey, listen, when we were in high school, because I went to high school with Chocolate Charlie.
Yeah.
Chocolate Charlie and one of his buddies dressed up like 2 big ears of corn, went and had an interview with the mayor.
What do you mean you dressed?
For no random reason.
What do you? Is it true, Charlie? You dressed up as an ear of corn and you went to interview the mayor?
The city I'm from is home of the Corn Festival, and on our water tower we had a dancing corn man, and they erased the corn man, and I had to do a news story from the video production class I had to do whatever news story I wanted. I was like, well, I'm going to get down to the bottom of why there's no corn man on the water tower anymore.
Oh, my God.
I had to come up with some sort of material, so I was like, all right, cool. And I remember my teacher, the video production teacher, just hated me, so she's like, I was like, well, I'm going to go ask the mayor. And she's like, you're never going to interview with the mayor. I was like, it's the mayor of North Ridgeville. It's nothing too special. I'll work on it. I can get it. So Just really,
the guy is, I don't know, can you catch him after he's done with his day job of selling used cars or something? I mean, it's not like the President of the United States, I don't think.
well, that's how she's making it sound like. So I was like, you know what? F this lady who hates me so much. As soon as I went down there, I acquired the official Corn Man costume of the city that dances around during the Corn Festival.
Oh, you did.
So as soon as I
acquired that, I didn't even know that was the corn capital of the world or whatever. But
it is. So as soon as I got to the interview, I threw on the corn costume and I conducted the interview wearing that, and then showed it to the. I mean, they would show this, it was like a TV show once a week that would be on in the morning.
At your school?
Yeah. And it just really made my teacher just hate me so much more because
Everybody hates him.
Everyone hates him.
I acquired the Corn Man costume and at the same time interviewed the mayor in it. I remember I had to write an apology to the principal, the superintendent, all of the students.
Why would they make you write an apology for that? That sounds kind of creative. That's what I hated about school, is they really stifled you. If you were outside the norm, even if you were better than the norm, you did something a different way, more creative way, better way, oh, they hated it. Don't do it that way. That's why I could not stand school. Maybe Charlie had the same problem.
Exact problem. And the video production teacher, she just despised me, so I just had to get back at her. Well, it wasn't even really a get back. I thought it was also creative. I thought it was a funny interview. It was a lot like one of the Daily Show.
Why did they make you write an apology?
Well, after the Corn Man costume incident, I forgot to return it to the King of Corn or whoever they are for like a week. And it was the middle of...
Corn Festival?
No, it was not. It was the middle, it was like October, and the Corn Festival was in August. And I was like, it's a year till you guys are going to be needing this thing. Sorry, I had it for an extra week. I didn't know if you had some appearances you need to go to open up the new Arby's with the Corn Man. So, I remember that's what I wrote in the apology, too, those exact words. I'm such an idiot. Maybe I'll murder myself for holding on to the corn costume too long.
God.
Oh, and that's why I ended up getting the Saturday schools that led to
you telling your principal to eat. Yeah.
Can you do
all a loop, huh?
Since you like videos
back
so
to
much,
square one.
Can you do some kind of assignment for us? Can you do some creative project for us, filming project like Corn Man?
Come up with the idea.
No, this is
well, what kind of thing do you want?
No, you come up with it. Let's see what you can come up with.
I don't want to write apologies to you guys, so I would like to know what you want me to do.
Let's see what you can do.
Just make sure you return your dumb fat suit when you interview dumb in a fat suit. Make sure you give it back to him.
I think it'd be funny to see where you take it. You have a video camera.
I'll work on it.
Do whatever you want and do a snippet. We can post it online.
I would actually love to just to show my video production teacher. He said I would never make it doing anything ever.
You know, I had teachers like that. Same thing that they would tell me, you will never amount to anything. And I was sort of not as bad as Charlie, but I was a real smart ass in school. It sounds like he might have been even worse than me. I thought I was bad, but
he's terrible.
You know what? I may have been really bad. Again, a lot of the stuff I don't even remember. I could probably tell. My mom could probably tell a million stories of all the stuff that I did in school. In fact, when she came here, she goes, "I found a bunch of your stuff. I thought I put it in the car. I was going to bring it here, like all my report cards and progress reports and stuff from school." And she goes, they all said the same thing, how you don't apply yourself, that you're content with just getting D's in school because you think that you're smarter than everyone else. And
you do think you're smarter.
Figure. I would have teachers that would tell me the same thing. You'll never amount to anything. You're a loser. And I'd love to see what they're doing now compared to me, those jackasses.
Rover's Morning Glory.
Okay, we're back. 1-866-YO-ROVER. That's 1-866-967-6837. Or instant message us at roverradio.com. I have an instant message here. Someone asking, where's Dieter? Why is he so quiet today? Well, he is sick. Coincidentally, he was out partying on St. Patrick's Day yesterday, and Douchey's trying to tell me it's unrelated, that he was just sick, but
biggest load of crap ever.
No, he was really sick this morning. I mean, he wasn't hungover. He was really...
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, he came in, his hat was all cockeyed on his head, and his hair was all disheveled, like his alarm went off. Oh my God, I got to get up and go to work. And then everybody's played that role after they got drunk. They I'm sick. Oh,
he wouldn't
and then
do
this
it.
disheveled look when he literally rolled out of bed and walked into work.
He was sick.
Jessica sent an instant message and says, Why don't you have Chocolate Charlie stay in the main studio? He's a funny guy, but I haven't heard much of him this morning
I'll
either.
step it up. Don't worry about that. You want me to talk more? I'll talk more.
Oh, how about you just play your complete debacle from your trip to New York?
We don't have to get into that.
This guy was he went to do that thing in New York last week for the I Love You Man, that new movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
He recorded those interviews.
Yeah, I haven't played those because I heard they were bad.
They're awful. I'm not.
This guy was recording them in, and I was hearing him dump this audio into the system. This is the worst load of crap I've ever heard. I don't know how you are even in radio with as bad as these were.
I would love to see you interview somebody then. I would love to see you do it then. Because it's hard. It's not, you listen to Rover, you think, this is easy. No, it's not easy at all. It's hard. It's really
These
hard
are pretty
job.
big stars, too.
You have to play this audio, Rover. Where can
I find this audio? I didn't play it just because I heard it was so bad, but now I'm curious. They go, this is not airworthy, but now I'm curious as to how bad it really could be. Can it be as bad as Dumb is claiming it is?
Oh, it's worse.
Who did you, and this was something where the studio flies you to New York City, you watch a premiere of the movie.
I Love You Man.
They may have well have lit their money on fire. As opposed to pay to send Charlie out there to do these interviews.
It wasn't good. I felt really bad about just spending their money, and then it was interview time. And then
Who did you
what
interview?
happened exactly?
Yeah,
Tell me. So you get out to New York City, and you took some winners out there with you.
Yeah, I took 2 dudes.
You're supposed to do a little bit of research before you do these interviews, I guess, right?
Yeah, I read some of the Wikipedias, but Dougie had said a good tip for me would be not to prepare at all. And I was like, I guess
that's what you told him?
Because when he overthinks something, he doesn't just let it go. And when he's just himself...
Yeah, but he has to know what he's talking about.
We did.
I overthought it. Yeah, I didn't do any work, and I overthought it, and just completely like a panic attack right before interview time, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to ask these guys. They're cool guys, but I have nothing to talk to them about.
He was intimidated to meet them because it was, who did you meet with?
I mean, Paul Rudd, Jason Segel, Jamie Presley, the director, and then Rashida Jones, and it was just... I had nothing. I just brought nothing to the table to talk to them about.
Did they call you out on it? Did the stars say, wow, you're pretty bad?
One did. And that's how bad it was. Where it got so awkward, just this long pause, and she just finally said, you really are...
Oh, way to blow it.
Terrible.
Oh, my God. Let's listen to this.
Wait a second. So let me ask you something. So are you in a room? Who else is in this room when you're doing this and you're making a fool out of yourself?
Like... important looking people with suits on and like note boards and stuff. I'm like, this would be easier if it was just me and the star. I would just be chatting with them. But now there's people listening to what I'm asking.
You know that they took notes and they go, wait a second, what show is this guy from?
Yeah, never again. Rover's Morning Glory.
Rover's Morning Glory. Yeah.
It's out.
Scratch this guy right off. Never inviting him back.
I had lots of fun. I just don't know about ever interviewing anybody again. It was just so bad.
But
I
woke up. Did you see the movie prior to?
You saw the movie, but I didn't want to ask him a lot of questions about the movie because then it was going to blow the movie, all the questions I had. So I didn't really know.
Oh, because it's
not out yet. I got no tips on how to interview anybody ever. So I'm just like...
Watch some interviews.
Were you hungover?
I was a little hungover. The main problem was I woke up and the time had changed that day. And I woke up, I didn't set my alarm, and it just had like a wall clock, and I thought I had an hour to prepare for it, and then I get a phone call from my winners. They're actually in the interview area. They've already signed up to interview these guys. They're like, we're just going to do the interview without you if you're not here. And I was like, what do you mean? I turned on my phone and realized, time changed. I don't have an hour. I have I'm late by 5 minutes. So run up there. I start freaking out. I'm like, what am I going to ask these guys about? I mean... you guys are depending on me to have a good interview. The MMS is depending on me. Whatever Paramount. I mean, the I Love You Man people. They're all depending on me to make sure that this is worth their money. And I start freaking out. I was like, this isn't going to go. I'll have nothing to ask these guys.
What did the winners do? So they just sign up to do the interviews for you?
Yeah, they're like, he'll be here any minute. So they just sign up. And then they're waiting in line because there's a huge line of all these radio DJs, which were... really good. You could tell they were going to have good interviews, so that started freaking me out.
They have, like, note cards.
Whole books about them. I'm like, where did you guys even get stuff like this? And they're all like, they were like top 40 DJs. I think we were the only rock station there, and I just knew my approach was going to be different. I didn't know how bad it was going to be. And these guys were talkers. All they did the whole time we're watching the movie, right before we go to the movie, all these DJs, because you have to hang out with them. There's like 100 of them.
I hate hanging out with radio people. It was the worst experience
of my life. They're all just trying to out-joke each other.
Yeah, they're all trying to be jokey and like one-up each other and talk about, like one guy will be like, hey, we did a party. We had 200 people come out for our bar night. And then the next guy will be like, really? We did a bar night every week for 3 weeks straight. We had 500 people come out to it. Exactly. Crazy. Then we did a prom, and like you wear your same prom dress from when you went to prom back in high school, and like you're 35 now. It was totally cool, a totally original idea that's been done 6 billion times before.
Exactly. So I have nothing to talk to these people. I'm like, these guys are the biggest douches ever. And the only time
one time we had one of the guys on our show breathe farts underwater, and they just
I tried to
look in silence.
Yeah.
They're like, how'd you give away the passes? We just had dudes come in and they answered Mansur questions, and I was like, what's a Mansur? Like, how long does it take to start your grill or something? Like, that's how you got winners out to New York City? They had to answer about grills?
Did you tell them what you had to do?
Well, then they're like, what did you do? And I was like, well, dude pretty much almost had sex with me on the air.
Guy held my junk.
Yeah. And it was just...
Who would go the furthest in gay activities with Charlie to get the trip to New York?
But they wanted raunchy. I mean, it's a raunchy movie. They wanted something different, like bro.
And what are these radio dorks?
They were just like, they just quit talking to me after that. I just brought that up. And they're like, this guy's weird. This guy's...
Well, let's stay away from this guy. Wow, that's wacky, man.
So then it was just, so then that morning it was time to interview, and all these guys were getting ready for their interview, and I just have nothing to bring to the table. And as soon as I get up, and the interviews happen each in a little hotel room. They've rented out like 4 different hotel rooms, so you walk in this hotel room, and then there's the star sitting there, and a group of people sitting around watching to make sure that the interview is good.
Well, was it like set up like the ones they show on TV, like where they have the poster of the movie on one side and stuff like that?
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that?
Nothing.
Okay.
It was just like a table in the middle of a room with 2 microphones and no headphones or anything, and you just sit down, and there they are, and they just start asking them questions.
All right, I do have, I pulled up these interviews here.
How many?
Get to this. Well, there's 4. I'm not going to play all of this.
Well, I want to hear. Are they long? How long are they?
They're about... Well, this one is, here it is. It says, full interview. Charlie interviews Jason Segel and Paul Rudd.
They were together. They were seated together?
That one...
Were they nice?
They were really nice and really cool. And, as soon as he sat down, I was like, I've never interviewed anybody before. And then that's when it starts recording and playing. And then they were really good.
Please tell me you got that part on where you go, hey, by the way, I've never interviewed anybody before.
No, I have the part right after that. So...
Were they at the movie screening the night before?
Yeah, they were there, too, which was awesome. They just said hello to the crowd.
Which is the worst one? Tell me which one's the worst.
I want to hear Jason and Paul.
All right, let me hear a little bit of this. Let's just hear this for a second. Then I want to get into his interview with this Jamie Presley, because she's hot, right?
Yeah.
Let me play this a second.
Chances are you'll ask one question, and we will just be talking.
Good.
Out of
so I'll just start off. I'll just say, what's the movie about? And then you guys just talk for 10 minutes.
He's like, wait, here's how we're going to start this interview. Instead of just starting the interview, it's like, he just...
Wow.
That's funny.
About, and then you guys just talk for 10 minutes.
All right. And if you feel like we're making fun of you, just know.
Go ahead.
Should we interview you?
Yeah, if you want to interview me, if you want to flip the tables, if you want to turn the tables, I'm cool.
Sure. Okay. Let's go. All right. So we're here. Jason. I'm Jason Segel. This is Paul Rudd. I'm Paul Rudd, and
I'm Mike. Charlie.
Mike Charlie.
No, just call me Charlie.
Call you Charlie.
That's my radio name.
Now, why would you confuse them with?
I just said my real name. Sometimes I get confused. I was freaking out. This is not something I want to listen to. This is just embarrassing.
Look, his face is turning red already.
Because I'm just. As soon as I got done, I was like, I hope I can somehow destroy this tape before I get back to Cleveland.
How do I turn this?
One time, when I first started out in radio, we had this interview when I wasn't even on the air. I was like just some part-time dude. I think I was on the air on weekends, and the nighttime disc jockey at the radio station interviewed the lead singer from the band Live. Forget the guy's name. It's something like Kowalczyk or something like that. I don't know, but... So he does this interview, and they send me down there to record the interview. It's backstage at this concert that they were getting ready to do that night. And so they do the interview, and the guy gets done. He goes, wow, man, that was a really good interview. The nighttime disc jockey, that is a really good interview, man. I go,
Yeah. Halfway through the interview, I looked at my recorder and I go, I don't think this is recording right.
Seriously?
Yeah, I was in charge of recording. I botched the whole thing. I caught, like, out of a 15-minute interview, I recorded the last 1 minute and 30 seconds of it.
That's what I wish would have happened to me, is they would have screwed up recording. And this is just... It was not fun. I mean, it was fun meeting them, but it was just like...
They seem like they're being
They're
real
really
cool
nice.
with you.
So, like, I would ask a question, and they would talk, luckily, for a minute at a time, and I just didn't have to really try too hard.
And the whole time you're not really paying attention to what they're saying.
No,
You're
I'm
just
freaking
trying
out,
to think of, like,
think
what's
of
my
another
next question going to be?
I didn't know, like, when to change the subject. Like, should I ask a question about what they're saying, or should I ask, a totally different question? And
all right, here's let's go back to this. Paul Rudd and Jason Segel.
Oh, you Charlie.
That's my radio name.
Your radio name is Charlie. Oh, so you're like a stripper.
Exactly. I
So your real
dance
name
on the pole.
Your real name is Mike, but you go by Charlie.
Exactly.
And this is your first interview
ever with you two, the biggest stars in the world.
These guys are probably sitting there looking at their publicist going,
What?
Are we that low on the totem pole that we're getting rookie interviewers?
Well, we would have sent Dieter out, but Dieter was in Reno.
Yeah, he was at the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah.
Jason Segel and Paul Rudd got trumped by Foxy, Roxy, and Sonny
Yeah.
Lane.
So that would have been funny, but this is uncomfortable.
The biggest stars in the world.
Wow. He knows. You know what? Charlie knows how to get his way into our hearts.
Well, if to you is Charlie, to me is Mike.
Yeah, well, you know him better than I do.
Daytime Charlie, nighttime Mike.
I like it that you have a radio name and your real name is Mike, but I'm going to go with something with Charlie.
Yeah, it's not candy or anything. No, I look like Charlie from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's why I got my name.
You kind of do, but if
not the new one, the old one,
the original.
Turn to a life of crime. You look like Charlie if you turned to a life of crime.
Have you ever walked into work and you look kind of sad and somebody says, "Hey, cheer up, Charlie"?
Oh, exactly. They sing that to me. My mom wakes me up every day singing that to me.
What? You still live with your mom?
This is just so uncomfortable.
Does your mom really sing that song to you?
No, it's just a bad joke. I'm so nervous.
I think I was talking over when he said you still live with your mom.
What? You still live with your mom?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
When I'm not working at the strip club.
Right. Oh, yeah. You also look a little bit like Nick Swartzen. Has anyone ever told you that?
Actually, people say I sound a lot like him, too.
You do sound like him.
Do you guys hang with that guy?
Jeez, now that I hear it, you sound exactly like Nick Swartzen.
Yeah. Do you guys party with him?
Oh, man.
I do know Nick Swartzen, and he's hilarious.
You know who else you kind of look like to me? Is David Beckham.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thank you. I feel that same way.
But more in the body.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
But I also see just a little bit of Tyson Beckford.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't even know.
But early Tyson Beckford.
Early when he was just starting.
We're like 3 minutes into the interview and they haven't talked about anything yet.
Just ripping on Charlie right to his face for 3 minutes. I love it. Just busting on this completely.
Exactly. I think I sound like him, too.
You do sound a little bit.
So I have a question. Did you see the movie I Love You, Man?
I thought it was a great movie.
Really?
Why don't you guys tell me about the movie a little bit?
Oh, right.
Wait. Why don't you tell us about the movie? What's the movie about?
It's you, Jason.
Yes.
Well, wait, Paul, you're getting married, and Jason, you need a best man, so Jason comes and steps in and is your friend. And your wife doesn't really get along with him that much, but there's some ups, there's some downs, but, things work. I don't want to give away the ending, but things work out. And
That's pretty great. That was
I think you pretty
well added that up.
That was really good.
And that was really much more succinct, actually, than we've been.
Yeah, we usually take 25 minutes to answer that question because Paul will launch into a story about his early film work.
I can't help it. I'll tell you something. We had a lot of fun on Clueless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dan Hedaya. I don't know if you...
Wake up, Mike.
Wake up, Charlie.
Hey, so who is your favorite actor in the movie?
Don't put him on the spot.
So wait a second.
I can't believe they're asking you questions. They're begging you to talk about the movie.
Did you ever ask them a question?
No.
Yeah, I asked what the movie was about, and then they switched the tables and had me tell about the movie, so it made it really uncomfortable. I don't know what to do after that. I was ready just to go in and ask a couple questions. I had like 5 or 6 questions prepared, and I figured they'll talk long enough, and then they start switching it. I'm like, I'm not prepared. And
that awkward silence right there, that was them waiting for you to go. That was, you guys had your little banter for a little bit. That was it. That's where you take over the interview.
Expert Dom, why don't you come in?
It doesn't take a friggin' rocket scientist to figure that out. That was it right there. That was it. You blew it. Like, you blew this whole thing. That was your chance to turn the whole thing around. And you just completely botched it.
I'm not trying to say I did a good job. I know I did a horrible job at this interview. It's not something I'm good at. I do the sound effects, and you
suck at that too.
There's another 4.5 minutes of this interview. I don't know if I can get through this.
Can we post it online? So I want to hear the whole thing.
What happens in the rest of this interview? Tell me, should I keep playing this? Should I keep playing this, Dom?
If you want to hear the worst radio of all time, yeah, play it.
Or
play it out.
To Jamie Presley, if you want.
Yeah, I want to hear that one. Let me just hear like another 30 seconds of this Jason Segel and Paul Rudd thing.
JC, the dad.
The dad?
Yeah,
J.K. Simmons.
JK, sorry, not JC.
That is a fair answer.
Yeah, understandably so.
He's such a good dad guy.
Yeah, let me tell you something. You know what you're talking about. Juno.
All right, I don't know what the hell they're what's
Charlie,
going
that was
on
terrible.
There. Yeah.
They weren't
Do you
that
ever
good
ask
either.
the question?
I did ask.
Oh, now you're blaming them? They weren't that good.
Did you hear that? That wasn't
But they were carrying you.
I know they were.
So this Jamie Presley's going to be in this movie as well.
Yeah.
Which comes out on March 20th.
And the problem with this, I thought Jamie Presley was Lisa Marie Presley. Right up until I walked in, I went, "Oh, this woman."
Are you kidding me?
I had the Wikipedia. As soon as I got there, I went to the computer, then I printed out the Wikipedia, and right minutes before I walk in, I was like, totally different person. I thought it was
like Elvis's daughter. You thought?
Yeah, Elvis's daughter. So I was like, because I was wondering, I didn't see her in the whole movie because I'd watched the movie. I was like, Lisa Marie wasn't in there, and then completely. This debacle.
No, this is Jamie Presley, who is on the TV show My Name is Earl. She's that blonde chick on there. Here he is interviewing Jamie Presley. This is, boy, can it be worse?
I told her, I said, this is only my second interview of my life right beforehand, and she just goes, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." And she was very upset that they brought me out there of anybody
to waste her time. I bet. Sure, right.
Oh boy.
So Jamie, can you tell me about the character that you're playing?
I play a character named Denise, who is married to a guy named Barry, played by Jon Favreau, and they are the couple that break up to make up.
Now, can you imagine that they send... Look, I guess this is what all these other radio guys were doing. They were actually asking questions like that. But who's going to play an interview where they talk about a character in a movie that hasn't even come out yet? I mean, it's just
well, that's what
the height of
that's what they wanted.
That's what
I know that's not what you wanted, but then I want
that's what they wanted.
I Love You Man wanted, so I didn't know what to do, and I'm just going in there just flipping out. I have no idea what I'm going to ask.
And the funny thing is, you can hear that she's like, "Oh my God, I don't want to talk to this kid."
Doesn't want to be bothered at all.
Well, the difference between Jason and Paul,
they can't even get me an interview on Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood. I mean, we're slumming it with Chocolate Charlie
Crooked
from
face,
Rover's Morning
ugly
Glory
guy in my face.
I would rather have the playfulness of the other two guys than this would make me nervous talking to Jamie.
Let's listen to this.
She looks mean. She looks intimidating. You walk in, and you're like, "Oh, this is not going to be fun for
She's a
anybody."
bitch. Does she look like a bitch?
Yeah, she looks a total bitch.
Well, let's see how it turned out.
Break up to make up and love having makeup sex, and both want to wear the pants in the family, both want to be in charge, get together, and they completely explode. But they love each other madly. And then she's also one of the best friends of the lead character, Zoe, played by Rashida Jones, and owns a business.
Cool. And who's
the two of them.
Who's more fun to work with? My Name is Earl or this cast?
They're both equally, it's different because I've been with My Name is Earl for so long, for 4 years, and we all know each other inside and out, and, it's a different kind of family, but we all thoroughly love what we do. And then on the film, most of us knew each other and all thoroughly enjoyed each other's company, so we had a great time. Either way, we got to laugh all day. And
how much of the movie is improv and how much is it written down? Do you guys just come up with lines while you're there?
No, everything was written, and then we did what was on the...
Yeah, we just take the $50 million they give us for a budget to a movie, and we just roll with it. We just roll with it. Hey, man, what do you guys want to do today?
That was a good question.
You don't think that they improv some movies? I think that's a pretty good question.
Yeah, great question. I thought it was good.
Yeah, he's doing better. look at his progression from interview number 1 to interview number 2. Is this the chick that rips on you, or all right? Let me keep going.
Oh yeah,
and
way
then
down.
we did what was on the page, and then we improv'd. We would go off the page and just improv. So a lot of the film is improv.
Are there any roles that you just didn't take that you wish you would have?
No.
Ever? No. Are there any roles you're embarrassed of taking?
I'm not embarrassed of anything I've ever done, but there's roles that, like, now in my career I wouldn't have done. But back then, 12, 10, whatever years ago.
Like, what roles would those be? Would that be?
Well, I wouldn't bring them up because then people will go Google them. No thanks.
So it's very. How'd you get started acting?
Wow.
Yeah, geez, that does sound like a.
Oh my God, that was kind of mean.
Yeah, that is kind of
Charlie.
bitchy of her, huh?
Why would you go there? Why would you go down that road with her? She
that's good. I would have gone down that road.
And then I didn't know what she wouldn't answer that, and I was like, what am I going to say now?
And would you do like a bunch of? I bet would you do a bunch of nude scenes or something back in the day?
I looked up her career. One of her, she used to be in Mortal Kombat, the TV show. Anybody remember that? No, because that's why she's embarrassed about it. And she says she's not embarrassed by it, but she won't tell me what it is. Obviously, you're embarrassed about this role.
If you won't tell me what
But
role
it got you to where you are right now, so why?
She sounds kind of bitchy.
How'd you get started acting?
That question can go on for 18 years.
All right. And you started off as a gymnast. Why?
Wow. What a bitch.
Oh, what? Don't turn around on her.
No,
this guy's putting her in an uncomfortable situation.
I thought that was a normal question.
Right, maybe turn it around. All right, maybe the short version, Jamie. I mean, we only have a couple minutes.
Why did you keep asking, like, say, was there...
She obviously didn't want to answer it.
Or say, why did you want to become an actress? What are you... did your daddy not love you? Not give you enough attention? Are you striving to impress people? What's your
And who's
your
laughing
problem?
in the background?
Those are the winners. They just laughed in my face because they saw how uncomfortable it changed.
Oh, no.
They just started laughing because she wouldn't answer the question.
And they're in there with Jamie Presley? I would have been
they're sitting with me, and they're like the whole
people
time.
you took out there, the winners that did the gay stuff with you to win the trip.
So they're the whole time. They're like, if you guys have any questions and you want to ask any questions, just jump in.
You said that?
Yeah, to them. I was like, go for it. If you see that this is going bad, and they're like, oh, sure, I got tons of questions. I would love to interview people. I think I would be so good at it. Get in there. They don't say one word, and they just laugh in my face.
Were you the only radio show that had the listeners come in?
No. Oh, no.
There were other radio shows that had listeners.
Like one other, but there was like...
Out of 100 people, there were two radio
from
hosts
Dubuque.
that brought in the listeners.
I thought it would be cool for him. What's wrong with that?
All right, let me. I have to play that part again. I can't believe I don't know much about this Jamie Presley, but
this is good.
She seems like a real bitch.
Can go on for 18 years.
Wait a second. I've got to back that up.
How'd you get started acting?
That question can go on for 18 years.
All right. What do you say to that? And you started off as a gymnast. Why do you still do that?
He's totally flustered now.
No, what does that mean? What did that question mean? I don't even know what you said to her
She's
there.
gotta just be sitting like, oh my God, is this? You know that as soon as he walked out of the room, this bitch got on her cell phone and was just like,
oh, this is great.
Why are you wasting my time with these rookie radio interviewers?
This is the last
I
time
should be on the Tonight Show, not with Chocolate Charlie.
I understand I'm not that good at it, but I just had interviewed the Paul Rudd and Jason Segel, and they just talked the whole time. So I thought, like, this is how it's going to go. You know, this is a lot easier. This is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
These are people you're talking to here. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different personality. You got to learn to roll with it.
Oh, this is great.
Did you still do that?
I actually started off as a dancer when I was, and a gymnast when I was 3. My mom's a dance teacher still, and I was a gymnast for 11 years and a dancer for 22, 23 years, and I do not still do it, but I still can.
Oh, cool. And you said
Like
you got
what?
I was reading your Wikipedia, I don't know how true this is. It said you got emancipated when you were 15?
I did, because I had a contract to go to Japan, and neither one of my parents could go with me. So, in order to get around child labor laws, which states you either have to be emancipated, 18, or have a guardian come with you, I emancipated myself.
So it wasn't that you didn't like your family? I mean, you still
No, I
talk
didn't
to them?
divorce my parents. It was not Macaulay Culkin.
All right. And are dudes just constantly trying to pick you up when they see you on the streets and stuff?
Wait, what?
No, they're a little more afraid than you would think.
Oh, really? Great segue.
Yeah, they're more-
Wait, what was the question? I was laughing. The silence, the uncomfortable silence.
Most people, kind of smoothly go into a transition to another question. Charlie just dead silence into a different question. Totally different topic.
Give me a couple tips. Just anything before I go on. Like, here's how to do
You ever
it.
heard someone do an interview before?
Yeah, but there might be things going on in your head that I don't know about.
During those awkward silences, are you trying to read something, or are you just staring at her dead in the eye?
I think the wheels are spinning in his head like, oh man, what am I going to ask next?
But are you looking at her while that's going on?
No, I have a sheet of paper with those 4 or 5
Is there
questions.
anything written down? Oh, so that question is actually on the sheet of paper?
Yeah, that's why I asked that question, because whatever her answer was, to me, it was
So
completely...
you planned out to have that horrible transition where one...
This completely boring answer, and I didn't care to ask any more questions about it, so I thought I'd change the subject to whatever I asked.
Macaulay Culkin.
All right. And are dudes just constantly trying to pick you up?
Now that's only, it's only about a second and a half, but it sounds
like an eternity.
It sounds like it's 10 minutes. Doesn't it? I mean, it's amazing how long that silence lasts. It just seems like it lasts forever.
Divorced my parents. It was not Macaulay Culkin.
All right. And are dudes just constantly trying to pick you up when they see you on the streets and stuff?
That's a bit.
No, they're a little more afraid than you would think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're more intimidated to walk up to me than they should be.
Do you have any, stalkers that you just can't get rid of or anybody?
That would be a really unsafe thing to discuss.
Well, God. And it says that I was reading your Wikipedia, too, and it said that you did work with the Pussycat Dolls. What exactly did you do with them?
Before the Pussycat Dolls became the Pussycat Dolls that you know today, they were originally a group that was, it was a cabaret. It was like a burlesque show. And each show they would have a celebrity guest. And I performed with them 5 times in their stage show and sang Fever.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I've just never done this before.
Wow! That's great. That's
I'm
great.
Not kidding,
I love this.
Interviewing.
I love this interview.
When you were dumping this in, I thought that those pauses were you pausing it to go to the next thing or something. You were editing or whatever. No, that's just
that's
your
natural.
horrible, unnatural pauses during the interview.
Kevin in Cincinnati sent an instant message at roverradio.com. Says, Dumb ruins every segment that he does. Tell him to shut the F up.
Oh.
And
how am I ruining the segment?
Anaconda in Rochester says, tell Dumb to shut his ass. We all have heard some pretty crappy interviews that he has done.
Never interviewed anybody ever.
There's a reason for that, too.
P.S. Your wife is a fat pig, Anaconda.
Oh, way to pull that out of the back pocket.
Hey, we can have you interview somebody if you want.
Hang on, this interview, there's only 54 seconds left.
Oh, there's more?
Yeah, there's more. 54 seconds left. I think 50 seconds of it is silence. Let's listen to this.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I've just never done this before. And what do you have coming up?
Wait a second. Why is there an edit there? I can hear an edit. Did you edit this?
I might have taken a little bit of the pause out for...
Oh,
there's a little more.
No.
You shortened it?
There's a pause. We're playing this on the radio. I don't want there to be just dead air. I mean, there was some... I'll tell you, there's probably just another second of silence that I just took out. Sorry, I've just never done this before. And what do you have coming up in your career?
Wow, you're not good at this at all.
No, I know I'm not.
It's all right.
Oh my God!
You just gotta breathe. It's really not that big of a deal. You're doing fine.
Thank you.
You've asked good questions.
Other than the acting one.
Comment. Other than the acting one. And the stalker one.
All right.
Yeah. I'm still finishing. We start the, it's pretty damn funny. It's actually nice. It's nice to have this funny time.
Yeah.
I start filming the last episode of the season of Earl tomorrow. I have a book coming out March 26th called It's Not Necessarily Not the Truth. And this film, I Love You Man, comes out March 20th, so I'll be promoting that, and then I'm going to take some time to go spend with my son.
Great. Well, thanks for the interview.
Absolutely. Good times.
Yeah.
She's like, kill me now.
Yeah.
Wow. How do I send that to the movie people?
You don't.
I have to send them something, though. How do I send that interview?
Why don't you pretend? Why don't you guys get in the studio after the show today? You just pretend you're Jamie Presley and do a really good interview. I'll pretend I'm Chocolate Charlie. I'll interview you as Jamie Presley.
None of the interviews I can send, they're all that bad?
What are you talking about? They're interviews. What do you want me? What do you want from them? I told you before I left. Could I have some tips here? You gave me no tips.
Rick, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, Rick.
Wow.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, man, how are you?
Once again, dumb is 10 times the interviewer. Look at that, what he did off that country station with, what's her name?
Jessica Simpson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huge hit.
That was incredible. Total improv. This goofball can't even read an interview.
That's right. Improv.
Once again, you're trying to make somebody talented that's not. So
I wrote those questions out for Dom, by the way.
Thank you. That I wrote, but you
I
printed
wrote
them
the
out.
questions.
Yeah, you approved the ones
that.
You did not write all those questions, you lying ass whore.
Yep, I
you did not.
Selena, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, Selena.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to give shout out to Charlie. He's trying really hard. I know what it's like to interview somebody for the first time.
Oh, thank you.
Why, have you interviewed people before, Selena?
I've had to interview many people before, and it's not as easy as it seems.
What are you
interviewing
people for?
I work for a paper, and I went to broadcasting school, so I know what he's going through. Did he ever go to school for anything?
No.
I went to broadcasting school.
They don't teach you how to do that. I mean, what are they going to teach you?
You went to broadcasting school, Charlie?
Yeah, there's no interview segment of that school.
Right.
Like, here's how to do an interview. I wish there would have been.
Do they still have newspapers, Selena? Every time I turn on the TV, another newspaper has stopped publishing. It's got to be a tough industry to be in right now, I'm guessing, huh?
It is a tough industry, but it's a job.
What are you, a reporter or something, or?
Eastside Daily News in Cleveland.
Well, good luck with that, Selena. And she says, Charlie, that you didn't do as bad as you may have on your first time.
It's easier for her. She's doing paper. I mean, she's just writing stuff down, whatever their answer is. I mean, she could take out all the bad parts. This, I have to play the whole thing, and it's no time.
John, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, John.
Hey, Rover, you know what? For Chocolate Charlie doing the first interview in his career of radio, I don't think anybody, especially Dom or Doozy there, I think Doozy being a boss or something like that should help the guy instead of keep bragging at him all the time. You know, walk him through it a little bit, you know, and you've been doing it for 100 years, Rover. You do it greatly. Well, you didn't do it the first time that great neither. I mean,
you know what I should do? Right before any interview I do in the future, I should just play a little snippet of Charlie's interview. Just to show you how bad it is. And then anything I do, even if I do an awful interview, it will still sound
so much better.
Like I'm a broadcasting genius compared to Chocolate Charlie.
I would love to hear your first interview.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking that. I'm trying to remember who my first interview was.
I know who mine was.
Who was yours?
It was Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
That's
her favorite band.
I believe that's the only person that I've personally ever, and I didn't do it face to face. He called into the hotline, and it was the worst thing ever. I was sweating, I was nervous, and I couldn't imagine face to face. I don't do that stuff. Rover, you're good at it. But at first,
I don't realize how hard it is. Yeah. I think probably the first interview that I ever did, I'm guessing, was probably like some D-list band that was coming through on a concert or something, or either in studio or out. You know, the radio station I used, the first radio station I worked for, would do a lot of interviews with artists and stuff, bands and whatnot, and sometimes if they wouldn't come into the studio, we would go down there and interview them. So I honestly can't remember who the first person that I interviewed was.
What city was it?
Vegas. I'm assuming it was in Vegas.
How did you do? Good?
Well, as far as, I can't even remember who it was. So in my mind, yes, I did fantastic. I knocked it out of the park.
I'm pretty sure they didn't say to him, you're really bad at this.
I'll have to see. I organized my basement a while back, and I did come across some old stuff, but I don't know if I came across... I know I have the tapes, or I thought I had the tapes of, like, my first day on the air ever. I'll see if I can dig that up sometime and bring that in.
That would be good.
That, I can tell you, was terrible. I remember that, because I had always wanted to be on the radio for a long time, and then finally someone puts me on the radio. And I realized, wow, I've been wanting to be on the radio for 10 years, but over those 10 years, I never really thought about what I was going to do once I got on the radio. I spent 10 years trying to get on the radio. And so I just remember getting on there, and it seemed so easy because you would hear people do it on the radio, and you go, wow, that sounds like an easy job. I can talk.
That's exactly what I thought. And it was Danny, the day Howard Stern got fired in Chicago, and one of my old bosses, who later became old boss, he called Danny Bonaducci and said, hey, can you do a morning show, fill in? So Danny just walked in there, and I remember hearing that, and he just started talking, and that was the day that I knew, if this guy can just walk in and start talking, I can talk on the radio. I knew I wanted to get into radio that day, and I wrote a letter to become an intern.
So I just remember my first day on the air. I got on there, and I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. And every time I would talk, it was at a music station, it was at an alternative station. And so every time a song would get done playing, and I'd have to go on the air, I wouldn't really know exactly what to say. And I know that every time I would mention the time of day, I'd be like, I'd be like, hey, it's X1075 Extreme Radio. It's Shane French here. It's 7:15.
Temperature 94.
Yeah, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. It's just absolutely no idea. And I worked the first shift I ever did. I did 7 p.m. to midnight, if I remember correctly. And they heard that. The program director heard that. And he said, I will never put you on the air during the day ever again. You are now relegated to overnights, midnight to 6 a.m., because that was pathetic. I go, well, you're the idiot that hired me, you dumbass. I have no experience. So I'll see if I can dig that stuff up.
After those interviews, I have this weird feeling, though. Like, I listened to it, so I heard how bad it was, but I have this weird feeling like I want to do it again. I think I could really do a lot better the next time, but at the same time, I don't want to do it.
It can't get worse. I mean, it can't get outside of
it's all uphill from there,
outside of raping Jamie Presley, it can't get any worse, Charlie. Okay?
Neil, you're on Rover's Morning Glory. Hi, Neil.
CLY, bud.
Arbe, what's up?
Hey, so we couldn't bring any segments over from the past radio station, the last one you just left. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it on the air or not.
Right, from K-Rock, yeah.
Exactly. So what makes it okay to be able to bring over or play your first show ever?
That's a great question.
Well, that is a good question, because I guess, number one, it was from an out-of-town radio station, and number two, K-Rock doesn't want to give me anything because they are in competition with us still, I suppose, even though they have no disc jockeys, no one works over there. And thirdly, someone would have to be able to say, oh, yeah, we own the rights to that tape from, 12 years ago now, and the odds of...
Was it a CBS station? They don't own you prior to those 5 years you were with them, right?
The funny thing is that actually that station was owned by CBS, or it was bought out by CBS, so I guess technically CBS would own that material, I suppose.
Wait, but he brings up a good point. They own your material for 5 years, right?
What do you mean by that?
CBS.
What do you mean they own it for 5 years?
Here locally, what we aired.
5 years, from 2003 to 2008, they own that.
10 years ago, they don't own that material.
Why wouldn't they?
Because why would they own that? Anything that you've ever done?
Sure. When you work for a radio station, you sign an agreement. You're basically what they call, what is it? Oh, man, I can't, I want to say... I can't remember the exact term.
Non-compete?
No, he's just throwing out any random terms out there. No, but you're like a work for hire, and anything that you produce, meaning show, content, a parody song, a conversation, a telephone call you put on, anything that you
from
produce,
no matter how long ago,
is owned by that company. You don't own that now. We have a different deal now where I own all the content now. So I own this. But, and I have the ability to purchase. In fact, my agent and I just had a discussion yesterday about purchasing all of this stuff from CBS, which I think we'll see about.
You've been saying that for a long time now.
I know.
Do you keep negotiating prices?
I'm in no rush to. I don't need all that stuff. but it would be nice to have the ability to have all of that. But yeah, so no one's going to complain about something. And by the way, these weren't full shows. I was working in a music station, so when I did a break, it was for about 45 seconds. And then after I had been working there for a while, I started doing longer and longer stuff, and that really drove them crazy. Oh, they were don't talk for more than 35 seconds.
I hate
No one wants to hear you talk. They just want to hear the latest Korn record.
I remember those days. It's funny because our program director just said, "Oh my God, that interview was so bad. It was really good." He wants to send Charlie out now to like bands and all kinds of interviews.
Oh my God, this guy!
You know what'd be funny?
Falls in a bucket of crap and comes out smelling like roses. It's the biggest load of garbage I've ever heard.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is doing the induction ceremony here, and all these musicians and all these people will be in town. Could you imagine, like, Charlie sitting with Metallica?
Well, could you imagine? We just see if we can get him sit down and get an interview with President Obama. Could you imagine that?
God, no.
I don't work on this. This is good. This is the roving reporter, Charlie.
Yeah. All right.
This will be good.
Let me take a break because I am running way behind. We'll be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on.
Rover's Morning Glory.